October has come and gone, and the custom camper build has restarted. It is exciting to finally continue working on the new camper, as it indicates we're not buried in non-camper projects and are able to resume our quiet, boring life with Cooper. And of course, the mini orchard. Plus, Steve admits he does love to spend my money. So this is the back entrance of the camper. There's going to be a large back door that's going to have a top and a bottom. And that'll be surrounded by the dinette on both sides. The main entry will be that door. That door is not built yet, but you can probably look up over the bunk. The hatch door has been constructed and dropped in place, but not fully installed. But the more tedious finish-up work was really getting all the fiberglassing done inside. And he also did these wheel wells. So this is the one on the passenger side. And then this one here is much bigger because that's going to hold the air conditioning units and some other equipment over the wheel well. So those are now closed up. As you saw, we left off with the habitat being assembled and most of the fiberglass work completed. In this video, he constructs the remaining wood components, which are the wheel wells and 3 of the 4 doors. These are built with the same materials and same structure shown in the previous videos. And those were mostly straightforward, and then he dives into the cargo box construction. Lots of steel and aluminum work, and we're happy with the end result, so watch through the video to see how it comes together.
Okay, I'm working here on 2 different assemblies for the wheel covers. This is a enclosure inside of the camper body that covers the wheels. In this particular case, this one is quite large because it is also enclosing the condensing unit of the air conditioner. So the condensing unit of the air conditioner will fit inside of the wheel well on the driver's side, and so this is the driver's side wheel well cover. These construction of these parts are exactly the same as the walls and floors. There's 2 pieces of 5mm plywood on either side with 2 inches of polyisocyanurate foam insulation inside of it. This will also get the same fiberglass treatment on both sides of it with the 6-ounce cloth as the prior constructions have as well. I thought I would take a minute and go over the 2 assemblies that I just constructed. These 2 are the wheel covers for the inside of the habitat. The one on the left is for the passenger side. It simply serves to provide wheel articulation space. On the passenger side, the one on the right-hand side here is much larger. It is designed to encompass not only the same space on the bottom that allows the wheel to articulate, but the air conditioning condenser will go into here. I thought it was interesting. This is one of the places where I have made a mistake in my design. I have done all this design work in 2-dimensional CAD. CAD stands for not computer-aided design, which people tend to use the term. It's actually computer-aided drafting. And it helps you to draft more rapidly, but it doesn't help you do the design work. And so I made an error in this design. I forgot to make up for the difference in wall thickness, because these go on the inside of the wall of the camper. I measured the wheel hole and I made them to the size of the wheel hole, which failed to accommodate the 2.5-inch setback that they were going to have once they were placed inside of it. So what you see here is the 2 pieces that I originally designed and then cut off, and then I had to reinstall a outside support lumber on the outside of these. So these are now 2.5 inches shorter than they used to be, and they should fit just fine in the camper. But all is not simple and straightforward when using computers to do your drawing, because it still requires the user to be the intelligence behind the drawing. And I failed at one point in time. Not only did I fail, but I drew one and then copied it and stretched it to match the other. And so what you will see that I did is I made the same error on both dissimilar pieces, because I simply, like I say, I drew one, got it what I thought was right, and then simply added the additional height and width onto it for this one, and determined that I made the same mistake twice because I copied. But we've all done that before. As you can see, I've recovered from it. I ended up, once I cut these off, I recapped the end of the cutoff insulation with a piece of solid lumber, and we're ready to go forward again. The next step in this process will be to put a fillet in all of these interior corners, because the inside of this is going to get fiberglass before I install it. The fillet will help to strengthen and round out the curvature of the fiberglass as it goes inside. Also of note of these two, if you'll notice that this particular material is the 5mm poplar plywood that I've been using. This material over here on the other side is a 1/4 inch Baltic birch, which is a much heavier duty material, and that was used specifically because this underside is going to get rocks and such flung at it from the tires. There will be another barrier in this one here to prevent that the air conditioning in it from receiving the brunt of that rock impact. And that there will probably be a barrier, probably made of a mud flat type material that's rubberized. To my right and left are constructed of 3/4 inch tube steel with a 16 gauge wall. They're covered on the outside with a collection of 60 thousandths and 40 thousandths aluminum, 60 thousandths in the areas where rocks are more likely to impact the box, to provide additional protection, 40 thousandths on the back side mostly that won't have any direct impingement. Inside is a plastic material that is 60 thousandths plastic that has been purchased at Lowe's, and this is a wall covering for wet areas. The bottom of the box inside is a piece of 3/8 inch Baltic birch plywood, which is extremely durable material. All of it's been painted white. Inside, in between this, the reason why I chose to use 3/4 inch tube was because I have a good supply of 3/4 inch pilot isocyanurate insulation, and both of these bays are going to need to be significantly insulated because the passenger side bay will be all the wet bay, which contains the water heater, the diesel coolant heater that's going to heat the water and also provide hydronic heating for the camper. It's going to have the water filtration system for the drinking water, and it's going to have the water pumping system for all of the camper. The driver's side bay will be the electrical bay, and it will contain 35 Nissan lithium-ion battery packs, of which one is sitting here, but it will also contain the 4,000 watt sine wave inverter, in addition to all the other power regulating and manipulating equipment. In particular, the batteries alone weigh 300 pounds, the inverter weighs 68 pounds, and I anticipate this entire bay with its contents is going to exceed, 500 pounds for the entire bay. The wet bay, having some water storage in it, but a lot of other equipment, is probably not going to weigh quite as much, but it's probably going to be around 300 pounds. The construction mechanism that I decided on for this was to use this welded steel frame. I wanted the strength that the steel will give me, plus I also wanted to be able to have a method of attaching all these panels, internal and external, to a frame that would allow me to put insulation in between, but not have the insulation interfere with securing equipment. So this whole structure is, these boxes both weigh right around 50 pounds, and that is without the door. As you can see, neither door is on there. I've still got to fabricate the doors, but I'm going to probably spend a good bit of time assembling these boxes to make sure all the equipment fits, and so I can access all of the places that I need to access before I actually mount them. The process of making these things has been a difficult one to arrive at, just because of the weight involved. The weight of the cabinet is a problem, and as is the managing of the weight inside of it. I also need to be concerned with the opportunity for these low-hanging boxes to be struck by rocks that I drive over, or rocks that are slung up from the road or from the tires, and so that's the rationale that I used in making these boxes. Each box is also going to have an electrical heating system inside of it that's thermostatically controlled to ensure that the temperature inside the box never reaches below freezing. I've determined that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a standard computer CPU heatsink and attach two 40-watt 12-volt cartridge heaters to it to provide an 80-watt heating capacity inside the boxes. I may go as far as to implement two of these in each one to ensure that there is a backup. On some level, I'm not too concerned about the heating inside the system, especially of the wet bay, because it's going to have a diesel-fired coolant heater inside, where when the hot water is being heated, the coolant heater is running. The hot water tank will also be kept in there, and the hot water tank will lose some heat to the interior of the cabinet also to keep things in the wet bay warm. But I want to have multiple layers of redundancy to ensure that this equipment doesn't freeze, because if it does freeze, it's going to be a very expensive and very problematic repair. So building a couple of these heaters, of which I've ordered parts and have not yet constructed, probably be a separate video for that, is coming. On the other hand, some of you may be aware that lithium-ion batteries can perform discharges in temperatures above about 0 degrees, but they cannot perform charging unless the batteries are above freezing. So this is another issue that I want to make sure that I have an automatic charging system that doesn't have to concern itself with, are the batteries warm enough? I want to ensure that the batteries are always kept warm enough, and I will expend some DC electric power in order to ensure that happens. I don't know exactly what the true R value of these things are. The R value of the insulation alone is about 4, or actually no, it's about 5, which should be fairly substantial. Actually, it's probably superior to the walls in most commercial campers that you might buy. Clearly, it's far inferior to the R13 that I have in my camper, with I have 2 inches of polyisocyanurate. But that's how these boxes are going to need to function. The next steps will be to build the doors for these. I have some nice latches and piano hinges to accept the door frame for this. The reason why the doors aren't built yet is because I still have gasketing
coming, then the gasketing is going to set the distance to where the door stop sits, and so the door stops are not yet constructed and installed in these, and as soon as I get that weather stripping, I'm going to do those and manage my entire envelope to make sure I can fit everything inside.
Close them. Obviously, I gotta push a little hard. I need to go to the gym. Easy open. And there's the base. So this will be sitting under the front edge of the camper, holding the power inverter, and this will be on the driver's side box. And then we have one other one. Contents here and how it all goes together. The pieces are still showing up, so we don't quite have everything ready to go. What's in here now, obviously, is there's a fresh water tank over on the right. There's the water heater, and then a incoming water filter. The camper design has 4 doors and hatches, and the construction is just like the wheel wells and the walls of the camper. 3 of the 4 doors are constructed now, but not all installed. The door pieces here are the upper and lower back door and the hatch that goes over the bunk. Well, Steve said he's going to give me a draw cord somehow, so when we're inside I'll be able to reach out and close this puppy. But it's really cool that we'll be able to have a hatch. We'll be able to open this up to wherever we're at. Look forward to reach
Joy?